one spectator sees as an entrance, another might see as an exit, another might see not as a continuing motion, another might not see. But there is a constant interaction that way, an unknown interaction, which was not following any idea specifically of Craig's, but was certainly inspired to me by Craig. And I'll stop right now. Minutes are going by, and maybe a few of you have quick questions or thoughts in the time remaining, or if there is any time remaining. Yeah.
How did you get involved with Craig at 18?
You mean meet him at all?
Yeah, and then become his student. Did he take on students frequently?
No, not at all. In fact, there were very few periods when he ever took students. Like in his school, he had a lot of students, but that was a unique event. No, I didn't know I would become his student, but because I was so interested in Craig, a magazine asked me to write an article about him, which they published, called Gordon Craig and the Actor. And when the draft of it was done, I sent it to him, and he wrote to me, and we carried on a correspondence for over a year before I would finally meet him. And a stage designer here in New York had a big Craig collection, which I think is now left to Yale University. And that was Donald Ohnslager. And he encouraged me. He said, "Why don't you meet Craig?" I said, "You think he would like to meet me?" He said, "Yes, why don't you, you know, just go there. I'm sure he would like to talk with you." And the first time I met him, first day, he said, and I wrote it down here if I had gone on longer, he said, "My idea has become obscured. It has to be rediscovered. A poet will rediscover it." That was what he said. And then he began to work with me, to show me work of his, designs and things, and encouraged me to stay on. Right up to the end of his life, he really didn't have much money at all. Not always because he didn't make money, but because he spent it immediately, if he had any. And I lived in the cellar of a deserted youth hostel in Tourette-sur-Loup, which is a town near Vence that he liked. He lived in Vence, the south of France. And I would spend the days working with him and learning from him. The teaching, he was impatient sometimes to get on with things. And he would say something to me, and I would answer him. And he would nod and say, "Write that down." So I quickly took a pen to write it down. He said, "No. I mean, make a mental note of it." He didn't like anything that stopped things moving along. But anyway, that was how I met him. And as I said earlier, I stayed with him on and off for a couple of years.
Other questions?
No more questions or thoughts? Yes.
Is that allowed?
Yeah, of course.
In that gallery.
Yes. Please.
So Harvey, here you discovered this immense, sort of figure, and this vast lexicon of, concepts and transformative, processes. And he was your mentor somehow, right?
Yes, that's really true.
Was it, and is it part of your experience that you sort of defied what you experienced with him, that you went on and discovered, or created something else, deeper or wider or different than what he gave you, or that you found in common with him? Did you take this to another evolution?
Yeah, I believe that my life's work is in this cruciform theater, to use the term from theater design and technology.
I won't take any credit for it.
Somebody gave it that name, and I adopted it. But That I believe continues his direction.
What is it? What is the cruciform concept?
Well, it's hard to put it, I've never yet put it into very few words, though I am writing a book about it. Maybe I should see, maybe some of it's short enough to describe, but it is actually a conception of theatre in which the emphasis of theatre switches from the actor to the spectator. The spectator becomes the creator, so to speak, of what he or she sees, and the interaction of spectators stops them from being a mass and makes them totally individual and artistic in what they do, and which differs and changes constantly depending on who the spectator is or when, but also continues the innate, what Craig would call the impersonal drive in the whole thing.
I think unfortunately we need to end
I
here.
understood it.
But thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.